Hello and welcome back to British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nick. Good to have you with us again. Today's episode is all about one of the simplest, most effective ways to practice English in daily life, just talking about your day.
Exactly. It sounds so basic, but a lot of learners underestimate how powerful this can be. You don't always need complicated grammar exercises or long vocabulary lists. Sometimes, it's just about using the English you already know to describe what's actually happening in your life.
Right. I think people forget that native speakers don't walk around using fancy words all the time. Most of the time, we're just saying things like, went to work, or, I had lunch with a friend. Very normal, real-life stuff.
And by practicing that kind of language, you build a solid base. It helps with fluency, rhythm, and confidence. Because you're working with things that are already familiar, your own experiences.
One thing I suggest often is, make it a habit. At the end of the day, take 5 or 10 minutes just to say out loud what you did that day. Even if no one's listening, it gets your brain used to forming sentences in English naturally.
And if you don't know a word, that's fine. You can either look it up later, or describe it in a simple way. Like instead of saying laundry, you could say, I washed my clothes.
That's actually a really good point. Simplifying is part of fluency too. You don't always need the perfect word. You just need to get your message across.
Exactly. And talking about your day is perfect for that, because it's personal and predictable. You already know what happened, now you're just practicing how to express it in English.
Another tip, try writing it down first, then reading it out loud. That can help bridge the gap between writing and speaking.
Definitely. And if you've got a language partner or tutor, you can share that kind of daily summary with them too. It's a great way to practice small talk and keep the conversation flowing naturally.
And it's not just about listing activities, is it? You can add little details. Instead of just saying, I went to work, you could say, I went to work by train this morning, and it was really quiet. That kind of small addition helps keep things more natural.
Exactly. And even adding how you felt, like, I felt really tired today, or I enjoyed my lunch, makes the language more real. It turns simple practice into something closer to an actual conversation.
It's that combination, facts plus feelings. What you did, plus how it felt. That's how most real conversations work, isn't it?
Absolutely. And when people think about improving their English, they often focus on big things like presentations or debates. But honestly, being able to describe your regular day clearly is just as valuable.
And probably more useful in real life. Things like chatting with friends, explaining your schedule, making small talk, those things come up more often than giving a speech.
For sure. And if you make it a habit, say, doing it every evening, you start noticing little patterns in your own speaking. Like which phrases you use a lot, or where you tend to hesitate.
That's a good point. It's a really simple way to build awareness without needing a teacher right next to you. You're kind of coaching yourself.
Right? And it doesn't have to be long or complicated. Even just 2 or 3 sentences about your morning can help.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like building muscle memory, but with language.
And you can get creative with it too. Some days, maybe you want to focus just on the morning routine, like, I woke up at 7, I brushed my teeth, I made coffee. Other days, maybe you describe something a bit bigger like a trip to the supermarket, or a phone call you had.
That's a good idea. It keeps it from feeling repetitive. And if you're someone who likes variety, you could even focus on different topics each day. One day your routine, another day your weekend plans, or maybe what you're cooking.
Exactly. And don't worry too much about using perfect grammar every time. If the sentence comes out slightly off, it's not the end of the world. The point is to keep your brain active in English and to keep building that habit.
Right. It's all about getting comfortable with it. Like we said earlier, it's not about memorizing scripts, it's about having real language ready when you need it.
And actually, the more you practice saying things out loud on your own, the easier it feels when you're speaking to someone else. You've already said those kinds of sentences before, so your brain doesn't panic.
That's something a lot of people don't realize. Private practice really does transfer into public speaking. It builds up your confidence quietly.
Absolutely. And if you're someone who feels shy about speaking, this is the perfect low-pressure way to get started. No one's judging, it's just you and your thoughts in English.
Couldn't agree more. And honestly, this is how a lot of us improved in other languages as well, just narrating things to ourselves in that second language, little by little.
Sometimes people think, that sounds too simple. How is that really helping? But what they don't always see is that it's building fluency underneath the surface. When you're used to talking about your day, you don't freeze as easily when someone actually asks you, "What did you do today?"
Exactly. It becomes automatic. You've said those sentences so many times to yourself that when it's time to say them to someone else, it just flows out.
And it doesn't have to be perfect or fancy. Even if you repeat the same phrases often, like "I woke up late," or "I had a busy morning," it's still practice. It's about keeping the habit alive, not about saying something new every single time.
That's the key. It's consistency over variety. You can add variety if you want, but the real win is making it a natural part of your routine.
And as you do that, you'll probably notice new words or patterns you want to learn. Like maybe one day you get curious about how to say something more specific, like, "I had a relaxing evening," or "I went out for a walk after dinner."
Right. And that's where it becomes self-driven learning. You're improving not because someone gave you a list of phrases, but because you noticed, "Oh, I want to express this now." That's really when learning sticks.
And it feels more personal, doesn't it? Because you're talking about your life, not reading some random textbook example.
Yeah, exactly. It's real. It matters more when it's your own experience you're describing.
And once you get comfortable talking about your day, it opens the door to bigger things too. Like sharing opinions, telling stories, even just chatting about random topics with friends.
That's a really good point. Starting simple doesn't mean staying simple forever. It's just the first step in getting your brain used to thinking and speaking in English without needing to translate everything in your head.
And because it's something you can do anytime, brushing your teeth, walking home, cooking dinner, there's no excuse not to fit it in. You don't have to wait for a perfect study moment.
Yeah, it's not like sitting down for a 2-hour grammar lesson. It's 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and it adds up.
Honestly, I think it's the easiest way to keep English alive in your day-to-day life. No apps, no books, just you using the language in a very natural way.
And if anyone listening feels unsure where to start, it can be as basic as, "Today, I woke up at. I ate. I felt," just fill in those blanks, and before you know it, you're building full sentences on your own.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be complicated. You just need to begin.
And once you get into the habit, you might even catch yourself switching into English without thinking. Like narrating what you're doing while tidying up or cooking. "Now I'm making tea, now I'm looking for my keys."
That's such a good sign when it happens naturally. It shows your brain is getting comfortable operating in English, not just studying it.
Right. And that's really what fluency is about, not perfection, but comfort. Being able to switch on English mode without stress.
Exactly. And even if some words slip out in your native language here and there, that's fine. It's not a test. It's just giving English more space in your everyday thinking.
And actually, it can feel quite relaxing too. Almost like journaling, but out loud. A way to slow down for a minute, check in with yourself, and practice English at the same time.
I like that idea, using it as a mindful moment as well as language practice. That's probably why it sticks for a lot of people. It's simple, but it feels good.
And the more people do it, the less nervous they feel when real conversations happen. You've already said those kinds of sentences hundreds of times to yourself, so your brain doesn't freeze up.
Exactly. It really is about training your mind gently, bit by bit, rather than trying to force big leaps all at once.
And even when you miss a day or two, it's not a big deal. The habit is flexible. You can always come back to it the next morning, or even right before bed.
That's important to say. It's not about being perfect every single day. It's about building a pattern over time that feels natural to you.
And once it feels like part of your life, you won't really think of it as practice anymore. It'll just be something you do, like brushing your teeth or making a cup of tea.
That's when you know it's really working. When it doesn't feel like homework, it feels like part of who you are.
Absolutely. And again, even 5 minutes is worth it. You don't need to turn it into a long task. Just a few sentences each day makes a real difference.
Definitely. And for anyone listening, if you try this today, just start small. Maybe after this episode, take a moment and say, "Today, I listened to a podcast. I learned something useful." Simple as that.
That's a perfect example. And over time, those small sentences will turn into bigger ones. It all starts with just opening your mouth and giving it a try.
So wherever you are right now, whether you're making tea or walking home, just try saying a few things out loud in English today. Talk about your day, make it simple, make it real.
We hope this episode gave you a bit of motivation to keep things light and consistent. It doesn't always have to be complicated to be useful.
Thanks so much for joining us again here on British Accent Podcast. We'll be back soon with more conversations, but until then, keep speaking, keep growing, and take it one day at a time.